Hey guys, so if you have not seen part one of my addition to my tiny home, I suggest you go back and look at that. In the meantime, I left you with a cliffhanger. It's about this window. So more about the window in a minute. I wanted to show you guys my finished piece that I redid. I showed you this dresser that I received from one of my clients. She gave it to me and I redid it because I want to make a vanity. In the meantime, the guy was coming so he could put on my metal roof. It matches the first part of the tiny house that's already done. And I was happy that he was able to find the same color and get it on the roof that same day before we get any rain or any type of messed up weather, because you know our weather is really crazy. It can be cold today, hot tomorrow, rainy the next day. It just comes and goes. Anywho, we did not let that stop us. He continued to work and go ahead and put everything together that needs to be done as far as my roof. He also told me that he would be cutting this wall out, and that's what I was waiting on, or so I thought. So I wanted to show you guys the inside of what he has done so far. Remember, my plan was not to cut out this original window and create a whole new window, but that's what he did. I wasn't sure what his purpose or plan was about that because I couldn't find the window anywhere, but I was looking at this roof and it looks pretty good. He tied it in really well. Like I said, he do excellent work. I do not have any complaints. But as I look at the window more and more, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I didn't want to spend an extra $250 on a window. In the meantime, I wanted to go ahead and get my other tiny house cleaned out and prepared for its renovation because I needed to change it up. You guys know that I'm no longer going to be doing my website, my store inside of my brown tiny house that I bought. I'm going to change this into a livable tiny house, but it was packed full of stuff, so much stuff that I needed to get out of here, because if I didn't do it on this week particularly, then it probably would not get done before the end of November, and I really wanted it to be done before December 1st. I went out looking, not necessarily for this tub, but I have to show this to you guys. Now, I went to a big box store and these things were $749. And it wasn't even with the tub part. It was only with the shower. I got to another smaller box store and I saw this sign. This sign said $100. I'm assuming $100 off of whatever the original price is because it was in the clearance section. Y'all, this whole tub was $100. I was so enthusiastically, I don't even know how to explain it. But anyway, that tub got purchased that day and I was able to get my husband to pick it up the next day. And then I was going to put it into the tiny house because it's going into the new tiny house, not the older one. It already has one. So I was happy that my cousin came over and helped me clean out the new tiny house and was able to stuff a lot of things into my bus. And as I move over to my already done tiny house, I see this. The door has been cut open. The walkthrough is created, you guys, but we ran into a problem because these two pipes here are my water pipes, and they had to be moved over in order for me to have sufficient walkthrough. You know, we can't walk into plugs and water hoses and such. So the guy who built this thing, he told me he knew how to do plumbing and that he would happily do it for another $150. And look what he did to the window. All he did was remove the old window and put it out where he cut the new space for the window. So at this moment, I'm really pleased. I thought I was going to cry when I saw this part removed off of my original tiny house, but I didn't. I actually got a little excited. It was more exciting to see the walkthrough. And if he could pull off this plumbing and move these two plumbing pipes over, oh my goodness, y'all, I am well on my way. I'm so excited. The next day, I called the electrician, and he was able to come that following Saturday and hook up all of my electrical units inside of here, my light switches. We made the plugs and all of that. And I was so excited. It's coming together. So now all he will have to do after the drywall is up is come back and put up my actual lights. He wanted to show me where my off and on switches were. And if you don't know your panels and what this cuts off and that cut off, I suggest you get those labeled because it really helps when you need to have work done. And just as progress was being made, there's this. Why did he cut this water back on? Oh my goodness gracious. And I don't know how to cut it off. Let me go grab a bucket. Y'all, I had left home, and when I got back, the guy was not there. But as I walked into my tiny house, water was pouring down everywhere. And I'm like, OMG. I mean, I was literally panicking because this water was going into the tiny house that I had already finished onto the flooring, and that flooring is not waterproof. Therefore, OMG, OMG. So that's what's going on in all of this chaos. I'm looking for another bucket. I'm filling up that bucket, and he is nowhere in sight. By the time he did get back, water was everywhere, and he was not panicking. And I'm looking at him like, why aren't you panicking? Because I'm having to go and run grab towels to pick up water that I hope don't buckle my flooring. But he did get it under control. And I guess I cannot be upset because he's not my original plumber that I always use. He's the one that actually built the extra room. But he said he knew how to do plumbing. That means you don't leave water running. And it was hot water. It wasn't even cold water. It was hot water. My gas water heater was going berserk. It was like full blast. Oh my gosh. But I won't worry about it because at this point, it's done. It's done. So never fear. The water's down. Dirt is everywhere. I had to just go into protection mode and cleanup mode. Simple as that. As long as it could be cleaned up, I'm okay, because in the meantime, he did accomplish what he set out to accomplish. He hid the two water pipes, and he was able to cover up the plug that's there as well. But it left an awful mess. Like the mess that it left, I was almost in tears. But like I said, you're dealing with someone who's technically a builder, not a plumber. And that was my choice to make. However, when you're asking people to do things, you kind of just want them to say, I can't do that very well. I know how to do it, but it's not something that I do very well. Because I came to find out he actually cut my hot water pipe here. So I'm assuming that he's gone to get another one at this point, because you can't have a split water pipe. So I can only assume that he's going to get it. Y'all, this really makes me want to learn how to speak Spanish, because I could be talking really fast, saying whatever I need to say. But then I hadn't even paid attention that he had gotten my door up. With all that chaos, he was able to get the door that I purchased from Lowe's. Got it at a discount, by the way, because it had a little bitty dent in it. So I was able to get 20% off this door. Talk about savings. I've been saving everywhere, left and right. But I guess I didn't even pay attention that he had gotten it up because the water distracted me. I mean, it truly, truly distracted me. The next day, I couldn't wait to get back in the tiny house to see how bad the damage was. And yes, the floor is buckled, just as I assumed it would be, because I did not put the water resistant flooring out in the tiny house. I never expected to have any type of water running like this, but that's a lesson learned for me as well. If I can get the water resistant flooring, always get the water resistant flooring, Melissa. Just do it. Hey. Ooh, they put the box right at the. Oh my gosh. One of my sinks had arrived for the other tiny house, that double sink vanity that I'm going to create, and also the mattress for the old tiny house that I'm going to put into that little room. It came, but they set the things right in the rain because, of course, it started raining and I had a time trying to get it in. But anyway, I was so happy and excited that at least one of the vanities came. I ordered it from Temu and I was really nervous that it wouldn't look the way that Temu advertised it to look. But as you'll see later, it is appealing and I like it, and it'll get the job done.
During the day today, it's going to be a little bit breezy. It's a little bit windy now, and more wind coming our way as we get into this afternoon.
Since I woke up to the weatherman saying the weather was going to be a little windier, a little cooler, I decided to go ahead and purchase some insulation and get that done. That is something that I personally know how to do, and I can do that myself while I'm waiting on the weather to decide what it wants to do before I go and purchase the paint for the outside. So as I try to use my limited experience in getting this insulation in, that's what my plan is for this day right here. And hopefully I'll beat any rain or any cold weather. Of course, it is always recommended to wear gloves and safety glasses when you're dealing with anything like this. I've dealt with this type of installation before, and it can be a little itchy if you're not handling it properly. And of course, you don't want anything to fly in your face. Of course, your face always itches when you're dealing with things like this because you're not supposed to touch your face with it. But if you do, you'll quickly learn how to go and get some cold compresses to get it off. But I do recommend using gloves and safety glasses when dealing with any type of installation. So here's what I was able to do. I think it looks rather nice given that I'm not a professional, but insulation is insulation, and I do always prefer to get the kind that have the paper backing. But for the ceiling, I'll have to get a different kind because it comes in rates, I guess. And so for the ceiling, I'll have to purchase a different type. Moving over to tiny house number 2, I wanted to open the vanities and see that they matched what was advertised on Temu. And so that's what I'm about to do here. This is the smaller of the two. The other one sits on the porch and it's heavy. So I wanted to open it when I set it on the porch, and we'll see how they look. Okay. Cute. So here's the smaller of the two. This will serve as my bathroom sink. And even though it's not as oblong as I had wanted it to be, I think it'll pair nicely with the faucet that I purchased. The next day, I wanted to go ahead and get my measurements so that I could go to the store and purchase my drywall, or at least see how much I would need, because I didn't want to get the big 14-foot pieces if I didn't need those. If I could get away with getting 8-foot pieces, that's what I was going to choose to do. So here I am, just showing you a snippet of me using a measuring tape. Yes, I know how to use a measuring tape. So turns out I'll need 10 8x4 pieces. And if I decide to up it to the 12x4 pieces, of course, I'll need fewer. But I wanted to get what was going to take less cuts. I don't know how to install the drywall. I wish I did, but I don't. But I was able to get that to my husband so he could go ahead and get it from the store. And as we speak, he's here backing it up. Here comes my drywall. Been wanting to touch up my door with the scratches there. So finally got the paint. Don't do that. And I don't think this is the same color, but we gonna go for it. Although it's a little bit cooler and windy the next day, I decided to go ahead and get the paint and try to paint both of the doors. I'm going to keep the same color. I'm going to have them both yellow. And I wanted to touch up these little scratches on this door that was caused by one of my husband's dogs. Long time ago, after we finished painting, he went and jumped on the door and scratched it up, and it's been that way ever since. Well, this will give me an opportunity to finally cover those scratches up and then move on to the back door and get that done. And I actually might do the trim yellow on the addition instead of that beautiful green that I love so much. We'll see. It looks better. No scratches. Wind is windy. Ah, too windy to paint. Gonna try. Even though the wind had picked up and it was blowing things everywhere, I was able to finish the touching up of the front door and also finish painting the back door. I just needed to do the fill-ins later, but that would have to wait because rain was coming and I wanted to go ahead and get some things moved and place some things on Facebook Market because this stuff had to go. I was clearing out everything left over from my online store, and so I was going to post them on Facebook Market. So the drywall is going to get put up today. The drywall with the pink what is that stuff called? Inflation. You know, you gotta, that's gotta go up. The guy's gonna come and look at the outside because I'm not paying. The two doors almost took me out. Yes, it's early the next morning and I'm up explaining that the drywall is going to be put up and I'm actually eating some pork skins with hot sauce on them for breakfast. Don't call me weird. It's just like having bacon, just up a notch, in my opinion. But that's just me. But anywho, I'm just trying to explain to the person where I want to add the pink drywall because, the pink insulation because a different type of insulation has to go up in the ceiling. And I'm just trying to explain all that. But I just thought I'd add that in because you guys wanted to see me eat these pork skins with hot sauce for breakfast. I know you did.
Sun is coming up somewhere. And it was just freezing yesterday, 36 degrees. It's supposed to rain shortly, so I want to get finished. So look how pretty that tree is. Photo probably don't do it any justice. It gets full-blown orange and then the leaf starts to fall off. I gotta show y'all, I added this TV used to be in the tiny house outside, but I moved it in here because I wanted a TV in the kitchen for music. I'm getting ready to do a crock pot meal. Smoked turkey necks and pinto beans. Gonna cook them on high. Well, I add a little water to the crock pot, but I have to just wash my meat. So that's what I'm looking for.
So by the time my drywall is finished, I was hoping that my crock pot meal would also be finished, and that would just simply make my day. I would have my drywall up and I would have a finished meal of smoked turkey necks, kale, yellow rice, and pinto beans. Yes, I am cooking my kale in a crock pot because I saw a recipe that had garlic rice and butter with kale. And of course, there was a twist to it where you don't actually cook the kale. But because I like my kale soft and not raw for a hot meal, I wanted to put it in the crock pot, and I'll add the rice closer to the time when the kale is done. But for now, I need to get me another cup of coffee. Yes, this is my second cup of coffee because neither the drywall person is arrived nor has the painter arrived. Drives you to drinking coffee. It's 1 o'clock, still no drywall person, still no painter. Who starts their job like this at 1 o'clock? So obviously this is telling me neither my drywall nor my outside paint job will be done. What is done is my smoked turkey necks, my pinto beans, and kale. But I did get a lot done. But hopefully my third and final part of this video will give you the final reveal to my addition to my tiny house, as well as the beginning of me putting together my new tiny house. Until next time, you guys, enjoy your day, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Enjoy yourselves. Bye, you guys.